This is how they operate. This is what they do. You think if they don't care about hundreds of thousands of Japanese they killed on one day, mainly women and children, do you then think that they're going to care about 22,000 or 21,000 U.S. troops? Oh, Stalin said, I'm going to keep them. And yeah, go ahead. Yeah, they're U.S. soldiers in Nazi camps. Go ahead and take them. Now, you remember that, cops and military. And don't sit there and tell me it isn't true. Don't you dare, in sitting there in your ignorance, neck deep in the cess of your ignorance, with all sorts of detritus floating around you in your ignorant brain, don't you sit there and say I'm making that up, punk. I'm talking to you out there that are in denial, that think you're patriots. You go look up what I just told you and find out it's true. Don't you just sit there and say I'm lying about it. Face it. You mean nothing to these people. Nothing. 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 You're with us, the people, whether you know it or like it. So again, I'll tell you, choose sides. I have studied the enemy's blueprints. I have studied their declassified documents. I know how their mind works. Think about that. They get with the Russians and they say, how do we carve up the world together? We've been allies throughout this war with the Nazis. We want to create collectivism too. In fact, the bankers that run America funded your predecessor, Lenin. How do we get this done? And their psych warfare experts came in and said, you set up a police state and collectivism under the name of fighting communism, and then we invade countries under the name of fighting you, and then you invade, and then we always divide the land between each other. That's why there's a deal to give the communist Chinese in 1979 the Panama Canal when we built it, for no reason. Wouldn't even let U.S. companies bid on it. That's why they give the communist Chinese and the Russians the drilling rights off our coast, but won't give our own companies that. That's why they give tax incentives for U.S. companies to leave and go to China. This is all a master plan that is stated. That's the thing. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of their blueprints have fallen into our hands. That's what's so frustrating here. This is not our opinion. It's got to stop. So here's the deal. Since the 40s and 50s, they have been teaching everybody we're going to be nuked as an excuse to set up a police state. And they've ingrained that in our psyche. And I've seen thousands of different factors coinciding in a political future vortex. And this isn't mumbo jumbo. This is political deep research, integrating all the information. Thousands of points that go into it, that there is a distinct possibility, and I've been saying this for many years, that the establishment will stage a nuclear 9/11. And now they've been hyping it for 8 years, saying it's not a question of if, but when nukes go off. And the CFR has even bragged and said Al-Qaeda will probably hit Denver, Dallas, Cleveland, and one other city. That's meant to scare their buddies. When the CFR members, Gary Hart, Warren Rudman, and others get up and predict an attack on the World Trade Center and that a police state will follow for our own good, that's showing off. And that's why they all gasp. Whenever a month ago, Bill Gates got up and said, carbon dioxide's what humans put out. We've got to cut the human population. Everyone gasped and giggled and clapped. It was like a little demonic celebration. Oh, we're here on the inside group. Ooh, we feel powerful. It's our little power fetish. Ooh, talking about killing people in mass. We're a control freak cult. And Gates all got this demonic smile and like was just shivering with, I'm giving all my money to kill people. And I'm telling him it's to help them. I mean, I have to sit here and see these psychopaths in big groups, like a group of blackbirds or carrion crows in a field picking our flesh, and I have to see all the stupid soccer moms and Joe Sixpack believing all the garbage, and I have to watch you being financially destroyed. I have to watch them poisoning your water. I have to watch all this happening to you every day, knowing how real it is, knowing it's 110%. So indescribable, I can't even tell you. People think I'm exaggerating. You have no idea how bad it is. I said I'd cover news, and I'm not doing it, am I? I'm just ranting because it's just so fundamental. Once you get wicked people in government, once you get corrupt systems in, they just recruit more and more evil. And then they compete with each other, and it gets more and more wicked, more and more sadistic, more and more psychopathic. That's history, folks. And it's high tech. It's here, a high tech overlay. They want to invade Iran. They want to set up a domestic police state. They want to be able to steal the pension funds during the crisis. They've got the mobile checkpoint processing units with the body scanners and brain scanners rolling out. We've shown you the Homeland Security videos. They want to fully federalize everything and give the federal contracts to a select group of corporations. And they need a nuke attack. If I was them, and I'm able to step into their battle command system, I can see what they're doing, the different plays they've got, the different options, the different programs. And if you study this, you can too. And I can step into their worldview and how they think. And I can tell you they've got a fistful of cards. And they've got that nuke, false flag nuke attack right there in their hand. Do they just hype it as a psychological threat? They're already doing that. They've already played that. Do they bust somebody, some patsies, and claim that they had a nuke? Because the people are waking up to them. They need something spectacular. Or do they detonate one weapon, multiple weapons? Why is the government committing political suicide? In a republic, in a representative system, they're all going to be out of office. Why don't they care? Why do they just rush forward on every front? Why? Because they know they've got the ace in the hole. They've got the royal flush. They got nukes. And as another card to suppress their political enemies, they're now teaching the school kids and the people on the news, everyone who doesn't like the Federal Reserve is a Nazi, hates black people. Anyone that talks about fluoride in your water is a Nazi and hates black people. Anybody that doesn't want government-run health care is a Nazi and hates black people. Makes no sense until you realize the programming and the brainwashed mass they're talking to. And so we know they've already played the fake nuke card psychologically. Will they play it for real? I've been telling you for now several years that they are going to demonize the Patriot movement and now in the last year and a half, the Tea Party movement, and stage events and say you're terrorist and say you're white Al-Qaeda and stage some fake raids on militias and people to create the illusion that there's this dangerous threat in the preparatory phase leading up to the staged event. And everything I was looking for them to do has happened exactly as we said, because it's a playbook. And I'm sitting here watching them run a playbook on us. And I know exactly what they're going to do. And I'm telling you, they're probably going to set nukes off. Okay, I just want you to know that. Unless we get the word out about false flag terror, and all you good old boys that are scared of what your church is going to say or scared of what your neighbor's going to think, you better just stop caring what people think, okay? You better grow up. The first thing about being a man or being a woman and being a strong person is that when you're in the right and you know you're right, I don't care if I was on a stage with 10,000 people spitting at me and throwing tomatoes at me. I don't care. If I'm telling the truth, I don't care if they strip me butt naked and march me out and throw horse manure on me. I could care less, because I know I'm right, and I don't care what those cowards and people who aren't in the arena think. I could literally care less. Grow up, folks. In your gut, you know it's false flag. You know it's all staged. I got the Democrats and the AP staging racism events to blame it on us. That's all these people do is frame us. We're the good people. They're the scum. Look at their fruits. Look at everything these controllers do. And then I hear Obama say, no longer are we worried about state-to-state nuclear war, country-to-country. We're worried about terror. And it's the #1 threat facing the U.S. And they are the terrorists. So they're telling you, we are the terrorists. This is going to be our game plan. This is how we're going to reshuffle the world and relaunch our operation. And so they're preparing to stage nuke attacks and blame it on Iran. Just like they claimed Saddam had nukes and was going to nuke us. People won't believe it this time. They've got to have a nuke attack. So I'm telling you, they've got the card in the poker game, and they are just about to lay that card down. And we better say, hey, I'm not playing cards with you anymore. What's that coming out of your sleeve? I want to, oh, look at it. You got about 3 decks of cards back in there. What in the world is going on here? It's a rigged game, folks. They got cards up their sleeves. They're the ones playing the terror cards, the race cards, the fake environmental cards. They're the ones putting the cards on the table.